Am I supposed to say it or
Yeah,
you?
it's you.
I thought you were going to say it.
No.
Well, apparently this is a special episode of the pod where Tim needs food cooked and I'm cooking it. So we got a little Korean barbecue all-purpose rub here. We got a little bit of local Black's Elk barbecue sauce. This is actually made in Idaho right nearby. And we're doing a little bit of all crap down to drumsticks for a whole bunch of hungry little boys and girls out there. We'll see if I can cook.
Stick around to the end because we're going to review Josh's cooking.
Yeah, you get in a groove and a habit of things, and you forget what you're doing. It's that simple.
Still know how to do this. Just pop that top. I hope the listeners at home have gotten to pop a top recently, whether it's a beer or other things.
Oh yes. That one's still my favorite, man.
That one's hard to beat.
You like that one?
Which is the iced tea lemonade. Yeah, this is pineapple coconut. Probably more coconut than pineapple.
Yeah. Coconut's typically a more predominant flavor.
I like it.
A little more overpowering.
I mean business today. You can tell how I'm in business because I got my my shoes on that I've been influenced by Bodie Turner.
Yeah. Winners wear Crocs.
Winners wear Crocs. Yeah, winners wear Crocs.
That's been my problem this whole time.
Yeah. Crocs.
Oh, yeah.
And I've got
Crockies.
beef with the Vegas tournament because they wouldn't let them wear Crocs there.
Yeah, that's kind of bullshit.
That's crazy. What kind of safety concern issue is that? Like a grown man can't wear what he wants, shooting a bow 20 yards at a piece of foam?
Yeah, a grown man can't wear rubber slippers in public.
Yeah.
What's up
What's
with
that
that?
all about? I thought this was 2024.
You would think it should be a choice.
Yeah. Well, today's a beautiful day. It's fireside chat where we chat by the fire. And we are going to do... Chloe,
That won't stop.
it will stop?
No, it won't.
Oh, right.
I
Chloe,
guarantee
come
you she'll. But if you take it from her, she's going to think you're playing with her.
Come here. No. Hey. Come here. You troublemaker. Sorry, I got to put this away.
Yeah.
No,
See?
no.
I think she thinks you're playing.
No.
This is the problem. Hey, grab that one. Give her that one. I don't think that. See if that's got a squeaky in it. Yeah, shit, it does. Damn it.
That's the last one I put away.
What else? Yeah. That's where they end up in jail, and then she's going to go nuts for like the next 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You're like, no, what the hell?
Yeah.
Can't have the squeakies, Chloe.
So, a special episode of the Fireside Chat. We are going to do the random release challenge shortly after this, which has become an annual tradition for me. Mm-hmm. How do you think that's going to go?
Stupid game. I don't like it at all.
It's the one
I
that-
really don't.
It's the one that gives Josh target panic 2 weeks before season.
No, it's not target panic. I
Oh,
won't get target panic. I hate the premise of it.
Yeah.
Because every release is going to hit in a different spot. So,
Right.
I mean, it's eliminating a level of skill out of it.
Skill,
so
yeah.
it's really giving you more of a random winner. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's fine, but
Yeah.
not my first choice of things to do, especially when my back's all
Well,
geeked.
as the defending champion, I would say that it's more of a high skill game, really. I mean, anyone can just shoot one release all the time.
Yeah, you would say that. Yeah.
It's fun. It's kind of
Anything to get a W, isn't it? Wins win, whether you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
I kind of look at it as end of the summer, get together with everyone, do something fun before everyone, spreads their wings and goes to hunt in different places. And we're going to grill some food. It's going to be awesome. So, yeah.
Good times.
How are you doing on your getting ready for season?
I've got 2 bows rolling that are, well, nothing seems quite as cool on a hot summer day as a lemonade iced tea from Jocko Go. Phenomenal product. If you want to support the channel and you like what we do, first of all, head on over to podiumarcher.com for all those archery needs. $99 and up's free shipping. Coupon code TIMC to save you a little money. And if you're interested in Jocko's products, which are pretty awesome, you can head on over there and use coupon code Josh and Tim to save a little money. Helps support what we do, helps make this possible. Let's get back to the pod. Close to ready for hunting in 2 different kinds of environments. Like I've already started tree stand and ground blind hunting bears
Right. Yeah.
already, so I had to have something functioning for that. So I got the Core SS running for that, and I've still got my my Lift 33 that I'm trying to get set up for antelope. And once those are dialed and good, I'll start grabbing the other ones and playing with those and try to decide which ones I like the best out of that. So I'll try to squeeze it all in. I'm going to antelope on the 20th here, so I don't have but 13 days. So
Is that normally a
hopefully-
little later in this year for you?
No, that's a really similar time. We were planning on doing it later than that, but I want to say there were conflicts with going like right after Labor Day, like the weekend, like the week after Labor Day, because it's a 3-day weekend. And I want to say it was my cousin who pointed out, it's like, so it's going to be a 3-day weekend, and then we're going to leave on Tuesday, so we can't get any office work done before we go, because it takes us a whole day basically to travel.
Yeah. Set up
Each
camp
right.
too.
Yeah, and got set up camp. And like when we went down last time, we didn't end up leaving till midday, and we stopped at Pappy's and spent the night there, and then continued on and dropped the trailer to where we were going. So ideally, we'd go straight through and have camp set up that night, so we get up and we're hunting. But it's just going to depend on time and what time we get out of town. But in any event, that one I'm probably going to automatically just shoot my lift because I don't think I'll have enough time to wade through the other ones. And then when I get back from that, I'll wade through the rest of them to decide what I'm going to use.
Are you decided on a broadhead prospect yet?
I'm right now using a beast, period. And what I have learned from the use of the beast thus far is it is the best. It is the best flying broadhead I've ever shot. And what I mean by that is, aerodynamically speaking, the more aerodynamic a broadhead is, the less distance it will lose in comparison to your field point, right? And it's the least, because we always tweak these things into 150 to 200 yards, somewhere in there, right? Depending on where the bow maxes out at, and just shoot it at its max distance a lot and see what it's doing. And the max distance difference between the beast and almost anything else I've tried is like 8 yards difference of drop. So just boils down to the broadhead's more aerodynamic, unless someone has a better explanation of why I'm losing less distance with that broadhead
It's
over
less
all
drag,
the other ones.
right? Yeah.
Drag is aerodynamics, right? If your broadhead is less aerodynamic, there will be more surface drag, which will create more loss of distance. So, and they seem to work really good. I've yet to shoot an animal with one. I was super close to letting an arrow go this last weekend, but I got winded right at the last second. Wind was blowing the wrong way. Everything was bad, and I'm just like, well, maybe it'll work out. And I had my bow up and was starting to draw, and did that and ran off.
How was the size of that bear?
It's a good size. Yeah, it was a good size bear.
Do you get any color phase coats up there?
Yeah, you get some browns. I haven't seen a blonde yet, but I've seen several browns, and a pretty big difference between brown, like dark brown, light brown. But I haven't seen a blondie. But yeah, it was super close to letting go of an arrow, like really close. And I'm glad I didn't, because it was 104 degrees.
Yeah, what a sticky situation, literally, that is with a bear.
So that's why this time of year I only hunt in the evening.
Yeah.
So the hope is that, it's like the last hour of daylight that you're probably shooting an animal, right? And then you've hopefully got the whole night. I've never seen the bees so bad in my life up there, ever. Like, I ordered a bulk pack of bee traps from Amazon.
Oh, really?
Because, dude, I got up at 6 in the morning, which, mind you, I'm not hunting in the morning because of the heat and the bees, right? It's just too much. The odds of you losing meat is really high. So, and at the end of the day, I'm still hunting for meat. Yes, I'm trying to do my job maintaining predators and managing predators, but I'm still hunting for meat. I don't want any of it to spoil. So I only hunt in the evening. I got up at 6 in the morning, stepped out of the camper, and it sounded like I stepped in a beehive. There was hundreds of bees within 20 feet of me, all over everything. Just zzz, and there's not a nest. Like, I spent half of the day trying to find a freaking nest. And we'd left a little bit of food out from the night before that we were going to throw away, but didn't actually throw it in the garbage can. And they were all over that bad. So I figured maybe that was the deal. I cleaned everything up. I got everything put away. I put up a couple of bee traps, figuring the next day wouldn't be as bad. Dude, it was just as bad the next day. And there wasn't a speck of anything out, like wipe down counters, wipe off utensils. Like, there's no food residual anywhere because I'm cooking things outside, right? dude, it was so bad. So we'll see if 8 different traps in a confined area will eliminate a decent amount of them. But I don't know. I've been up there 4 years, 5 years now. I've never seen so many bees, like massive amounts of bees.
Bees or hornets?
There's a variety, dude. I don't know. I've
Lots
seen
of
all
stuff
kinds.
that'll sting you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, for the longest time, I'd never get stung by a bee, and I've gotten stung every year up there. And I've yet to have this. I think last year was the first year that that a bee didn't try to make a nest on or in my camper. I'd like go through and duct tape everything shut, so there's no like portals to try to build a nest in or anything like that. And, I'd show up one weekend and there'd bees all over the side of my camper and trying to get them out, and one of them would zap me or 2 of them would zap me. I got zapped last year by one, but I haven't gotten hit yet. Stress them yet. It's October, right? But they hadn't come out really. I've only really started seeing bees around here the last couple weeks. It's like everything's late. Like we still have ticks, and we shouldn't have ticks now. We are just starting to get bees where we should have got bees a month ago. Like everything seems really late this year. I don't know if everyone else has experienced that or if that's just our area, but yeah, definitely seems that way. And they're bad up there. Oh, bad.
So we're liking the Beast. And the Beast has buzz right now, and I've heard from a couple people, a couple trusted sources that it flies well. They've had good success with it. So it's kind of the trendy right now.
It is.
What else is trendy is the Sever with the additional bleeders. A lot of people are excited about that.
The 1.5 hybrid, unfortunately, because we can't sell that, I have no idea how popular it really is.
Yeah.
So because I can't see the volume.
Right.
I know we've gotten, I think we're up to 1,000 Beast packs of Beast broadheads in so far. Mm-hmm. And we got 200 100 grain 2 inches in yesterday.
Yeah.
I think we're down to 80. And we've got 800 packs on order that we're supposed to see within a week, week and a half, which if my brain calculates this right, that's probably about when this comes out. So we probably have a really good amount of those in stock when this drops. But at the rate they're selling, and that we're going to start pre-selling them again, because that's what Bomar's doing. He's offering pre-sales on his website. I think we're going to start doing that and advertising it. So when we get our supplies in, we can fulfill orders and hopefully get people who've planned ahead a little bit more stuff. Man, everybody really is jacked about it. And I've had a couple of conversations with Josh. I'm excited for what's coming in multiple different things. There's so many different things that he mentioned to me. Well, I had asked him, hey, do you mind if I make this for that? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, okay, hang on. This is coming, this is coming, this is coming. And I'm like, dude, those are all things that I would have done. That's really cool. So I'm really excited to see where that one goes. And I think that broadhead's here to stay. I think it's probably going to end up being the biggest player. And my first conversation I had with him, he said their goal was to be the largest seller of broadheads in 3 years. And I don't think he's wrong. Like,
yeah.
Time will tell on shooting at 3 animals and whatnot, but I don't see a real flaw in it other than it doesn't do a 3-blade. But, cut a big enough hole in it, it's probably not going to matter if it's just 2-blade or 3-blade. But
it's got the potential for sure. And they're really, really good at marketing, especially modern marketing. So, yeah, you put really good marketing behind a good product. Who knows what the sky's the limit. Check out this product caught my eye the other day when I saw it.
yeah, I have these in the shop.
Yeah, I haven't shot it. Tell them what you're looking at.
It's a Evolution Outdoors Jekyll, and this is a dangerous game version. I'm not sure if you did that on purpose or not. No. But they make a Jekyll and a Hyde, so they make a fixed blade version and a mechanical version.
Yeah, so that's a fixed blade version with like small bleeders on the front, and then imagine like a good sized 2-blade with small bleeders on the front. And
this is also another idea that I'd had, so you can interchange the fixed blade for mechanical blade.
That's a nice looking broadhead.
Yeah, that was a unique idea that I never got the logistics out in my head of how to do it. But so you could switch from fixed blade to mechanical blade back and forth if you wanted.
Whenever I see a Lusk video, they do pop up in my feed that has a broadhead I'm interested in or just curious about. I check it out, and this was one of them, and it did really well in his tests. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I was very impressed by it, which is why we started carrying it, even though it's a new to dealer product. Like they weren't dealer a year ago, and I don't think they'd been around all that long, but I'm not positive on that. I only got aware of them recently. And once they said they'd sell to dealers, I was like, well, here's a budget. I was like, here's between that and those, that's the same company that makes the Ibex vibration hinge release.
Oh, okay.
Same company.
Yeah.
I said, here's your budget. I'll write you a check for this much money. You send me what sells.
You
And
send
pick.
me. You send me stuff.
Send me stuff and send me stuff. Well, I like to do that with manufacturers, especially when they're new to me. I'll give them a budget and say, here. I mean, I can sit here and go, well, I like that, I like that, I like that. But you make the product, you know what sells, and I'm a national company. So here's a check for this much money. Send me a product.
Yeah, it's a good
what
little,
you think sells. And then
little test too.
Well, the beauty of it is if it doesn't sell, I got to call them back and say, hey, this crap you sold me doesn't sell. Right? And it was what you picked.
Yeah.
Wasn't what I picked. Wasn't like I picked the wrong products. You picked the products.
It was you.
Yeah. And so far those are starting to pick up a little bit.
Yeah.
I was hoping to be doing broadhead testing by now, but like usual, I'm a little behind. And I was hoping to really kind of pimp that and a beast and whatnot because they're new and there's not as much data out on them. Along with, we just got the new T2 broadheads from G5, which is John Dudley's new broadhead.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that he was working on pre-leaving PSE. So, and I think, like I said, I think we talked about this last time. That's likely why most people think he's going to Prime because he already started working with them on something else. It's like a gateway deal, you know what I mean? Little transitionary thing.
Yeah, you typically start to see that. You'll start to see signs, you know.
Well, and for them, like if it's within their budget, right? You know, he pulls a good share of the market. He'll draw a lot of attention to your brand, and I don't know. I'm not trying to bash on Prime, but they don't feel like they have a lot of attention to them, right?
Yeah, it feels like the momentum's going the wrong way for them.
Yeah, and that could just be our area, right? It could be totally different nationally. Could just be a regional thing. But if you're trying to draw attention to your brand, if you're struggling for attention, which ever since they went to the single track cam, which I think is a really good system, it made their bow look like everybody else's. So when you used to walk through a shop and you saw that bow, you stop and look at it. Go, what the hell is that? Because there was two different cams next to each other and a cable in the middle and full yoke system, the whole bit. It was different, right? So it would draw attention to their brand. When they went away from that, it kind of looks like a lot of other bows on the wall. They have their own unique characteristics, so don't get me wrong or don't get it twisted, but their other product didn't look like any other bow. If you walked by it, you would stop and look at it because it looked like something different.
Yeah, and the traditional fan base from them does seem pretty loyal. But, you know, that runs true with most companies. If they're loyal to a brand, you know, they're not likely to switch. Most of those companies are competing for the people that are, you know, not so brand specific.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it would make sense for them to try to get him because that would help them, I would think, a lot. Like, I don't know if he would go back to somebody he already went to or if he would be taken back by somebody he already went to. But he hasn't ever left a company and gone back to a company. He's always gone to somebody else. So I would think it would logically, you know, be Prime or Bowtech, which I don't think Bowtech would do it. I think it would be good for him.
Yeah.
I think it would be really good for him, but I don't think they'd do it. So it just makes sense.
We haven't talked about the Ultra V arrows on here yet, right? I don't think so.
I don't know. I thought we might have, but I don't know.
I'm not sure that we
I know.
have.
I know I did my video on it, but
Yeah.
and you and I talked about it.
We talked about it, but not here.
But-
they're kind of stirring up the internet a little bit right now, for sure.
Hold on. I'm trying to think of when we talked about it. Were we standing right here after a pod?
Yeah.
Then wouldn't we have talked about it on the pod?
I don't know. Anyway,
Oh, my brain's scrambled. We can talk about it again. No
You've
big
seen
deal.
kind of the initial burst or launch to market from the product. You know, we don't have a lot of consumer feedback yet because not a lot of people send them downrange.
Yeah.
But like, what's that look like? The initial kind of launch or whatever.
It's good. I know we sold. I think we sold all our 300 spines already. I've got more coming, but I don't have any in stock at the moment. I still have 350s and 250s. So our core size is sold pretty quick. Which 300 is always our best selling spine. I know nationally it's probably more like 350, but oddly enough, some of the things we talk about and mention and recommend direct people that direction. So they end up getting that instead from our consumer. But we did get an email about receiving some arrows that weren't very straight. But that's the first I've heard anything on it. When I went through and checked I checked two different packs and they were all really, really straight. In comparison to when I'm checking it against somebody else's arrows, I was really impressed with the straightness. The 1K weave is something that hasn't really been marketed well. Well, I mean, they're saying it, but it's like it hasn't been explained very well or pushed very well. But the premise, or at least according to them, which I haven't been able to test it yet because I haven't chopped up and shot any of them. They're claiming the 1K weave has incredible recovery dynamics, but it's expensive and it's hard to source. So actually had Colby called me. I talked to him for like an hour.
Yeah.
He was trying to walk through some of the nuances of it and what kind of makes it different than anybody else's arrow. Because I think right now the only 1K arrows that are out there is that one. And oddly enough, Fire Knock makes his own arrow in a 166 that's 1K weave. I'm not sure where it came from or who actually made it for him because obviously I doubt he rolled it. But
1K weave has to do with the structure of the carbon, right?
Yeah, it's 1,000 grids in a certain dimension or something like that. So if you look at it as a weave, it looks way tighter and way finer, right? And that because of that, it supposedly has immense response. Like the premise of taking your bow out of tune deliberately and it's still flying good, things like that, making mistakes or poor shots, and they tend to still break more towards the middle and recover more towards the middle. And I've had a couple of different people claim that one that was in the testing of that. But like I said, I haven't had a chance to shoot it yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, I hear good things. And the other thing that really kind of gets overlooked, and you can take it or leave it, if you buy a premium set of arrows, put premium components on them, have them built, all that stuff, you are pretty close to that price point. But it's still to slap $220 a 6 into somebody, you're going to get a whole lot of people think that's ridiculous. And I get where they're coming from. It would have been nice if they published it and broke it out with a shaft price and a completed component build price and have there be a pretty big difference between those two. So you can see it and say, oh, okay, well, they're charging this for their own personal custom made vane, which looks really cool. And I think it'll actually perform really well. When they designed it, all they were trying to design was downrange accuracy. That's it. That's all they were going off of. Just how can we make this the most accurate vane made? And looking at the dynamics of it and the shape of it and the way it's contoured, I would bet it is. And ironically, they fletched them all left helical.
Oh, how about that?
Right. But I'm telling you, we did talk about this.
Yeah.
We had to. Although I don't think I emphasized the one.
But definitely not since it's been on the internet.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I have a batch of them that I haven't busted open yet. I'm waiting to bust them open. So I don't really have an opinion. I do wish they would have come in either 4 mil or 5 mil. Coming in a proprietary size means that there's a lack of components.
Can I pause you on that one
Yeah.
a second? Did you check the time when we started? How long has it been?
Yeah, it's been 22 minutes since we started podcasting.
Okay. 8 more minutes. Tell me to run outside.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I do wish they would have picked either 4 mil or 5 mil just to kind of work within what the standard componentry is. And, components will catch up to new models and stuff, and that'll happen. And who knows, maybe we'll see more 4.5 mil arrows. I don't know if that's necessarily a sweet spot or not. I really like 5 mils, man. It seems like with the way things are made today, a very sweet spot for durability as well as weight.
No, I agree. That's why I've always recommend them over 4s or 6s, 6.5s.
Yeah.
And we've seen a random arrow size created before, and it didn't really take super well. It's still around. Like the 6 millimeter size is its own gem, and componentry never really got made for it outside of the norm. There's a little bit here and there. People like myself have threatened to make componentry for it, so you can have some different aftermarket stuff and not use the stock components. And consequently, when I talked to Colby, I had asked if there would be any issue with making components for him, and they're like, "No, not at all. Please do." So I might, but I'm torn because I would really like to know how many of those things are even out there.
Right.
Like, how many have you really shipped? Am I making a whole bunch of components for 1,000 dozen arrows on the planet? Right? How many are out there? Which I know their original numbers that they ordered was a lot, and they're beating their forecast. That was one of the first things I asked them. I was like, "How are you on your forecast on where you were and what your plan was?" And they said, "We're ahead of it." So they're selling more than they expected to.
Well, I kind of look at two different kinds of consumers in that price point. Is one, there's certainly a person who wants an end-to-end finished product. I probably, if I were to raise my hand of one versus the other, I'd probably say, yeah, I'd rather have that because I don't love building arrows. The other is the person who wants to curate their own arrows. They want to build it. They want to be a part of the process. They want to be the person who's end to end with it, because it's like building your own loads in a rifle. It's like intimate. It feels good. You're connected to the process. You know more about it. So not having that option right now, I see as being like, just sell the shafts. People want to run them.
I would have liked to seen that first.
Yeah.
And I mean, when I talked to Colby about it, he said his original idea of it, they weren't even thinking about arrows, but he went to try to build some and hopped on Lancaster to order a bunch of components and looked at the end dollar amount of what he did. And he's like, because that's what he wanted to build. And he's like, why hasn't anybody just built a pre-built, this is all the best stuff you can put on it? Done. Right. And that's what started this. So his original philosophy of this was a completely custom built arrow ready to go. Like when I originally heard about this, which was Big Sky Tech is when I first heard about this. The guy who talked to me pulled me aside and went, they're going to sell them pre-cut and pre-inserted, period. Like you're not even going to be able to buy an uncut one. I literally like, you are insane. Like, what if I don't want a 1/2 inch increment? Like,
Yeah.
come on, man. Like you got at least, so they at least backed off it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like they were all going to be already cut, already inserted, ship right to you, done deal. No choice of length of other than these base 1/2 inch increment options, packaged like marked on the outside of the package in a sealed package. It's like, please God, don't do that.
Well, and from a company perspective too, it's so much easier to sell one SKU.
Well, they're still selling them pre-cut too. Like you can order them in a length installed whole bit, but you can also order them uncut. They weren't going to offer it uncut.
They weren't going to offer.
They were gonna offer it.
So they're uncut,
only cut
but
and
with the
inserted,
fletchings
insert,
and shit.
installed, fletched the whole bit.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't just cut your own arrow off and install your own component. Like what? Like please God, don't do that.
Yeah.
And please, pretty please, sugar on top, offer shafts at the same time.
Yeah.
So people can at least see what's your justification for this price.
Yeah.
Like if there's a really big price difference between your shaft and your completed arrow, you're probably not getting beat up as bad on how expensive this looks.
Yeah.
Because most people don't even pay attention to what the end price of their component is.
Right. It's much easier for a person to buy $200 shafts and then $10 inserts and then whatever nice broadheads, and you've done it all in separate transactions, and it's like it's just easier for a person to do that than to say, here, take my credit card for $600 or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. If you sit down and tell them these are $600 arrows, they're going to be like, what?
Yeah.
But if you piece this, piece that, piece that, piece that, and then he gets done, it's like, all right, whatever, just do it.
Yeah, and
But
you
so,
buy
yeah,
100
it's-
veins, so you're not sure how much per vein, and
Yeah.
you're not exactly sure on your tallies, and you got to patch extra
Well,
inserts. and
the other interesting thing that he mentioned that I didn't notice, I thought they were just trying to be fancy bougie. The wraps, they're offset deliberately. Like there's a weight parameter, like it's skinnier in one spot and fatter in the other, and that's to offset the overlap. Because how a wrap will overlap a little
Yes,
bit,
yeah.
So it's a little heavier on that side than the other side. They've made that wrap that looks all bougie to compensate for that. Like it's longer on one side than the other, so the side that doesn't overlap is a little longer. So they weigh the same. Like that's very interesting. That's thinking a lot
Yeah.
through that. I wouldn't have thought of that. Of
Well-
that as a way to combat the offset of weight.
So here's the thing: is I appreciate innovation. I've always, typically tried to buy tech at the front of the curve.
Yeah.
I think I like to see it. They just, I don't know. I think a lot of people, and maybe this is just the internet, right? Because we live on the internet, and you
Sure.
see like knee-jerk reactions. But to me, it's like, why are people so upset about the price? It's like, just speak with your wallet. Either you buy it or you don't.
I can explain it to you.
I mean,
Look at because our economy sucks and everybody's broke and
Yeah.
they're pissed when they see stuff like that.
I can understand
And those
that.
that's where those people are coming from.
Yeah.
The people that are struggling as it is to see a really high dollar product come out. It's kind of like a
Slap in the face or whatever.
yeah. It's I had a pretty good conversation with the guy from Bowtech that it was behind the Honor bow
Yeah.
that I reviewed, that $4,000 package, and they were really concerned if they go forward with that project of the price point, and are we gonna like offend a bunch of people because of the way things are right now?
Yeah.
Like, do we even make it? Like, is it a good idea to come to market with a $2,000 to $2,500 bow now? Like, is that bad? Should we not do that?
Yeah.
And my advice to him was just, those that want it will buy it, and those that don't want it will be pissed about it.
Yeah.
But those people are going to be pissed anyway.
Right.
They're just happen to be pissed about that.
Right.
As opposed to something else. So don't let that stop you from making it. But if you want to limit how many are made or that sort of thing, just to say, hey, we're only making X of these, so it doesn't look like we're the same person that's mad about the price of that is probably mad they can't afford it, and that or that they feel like it's just another big corporation being greedy or whatever. When in actuality, it's a very expensive process to create, right? So they're not. It's not like they're gouging you on margin. It just costs a lot more to make that product.
Yeah.
Right. No different than a 1K weave arrow costs more to make than a standard woven carbon arrow. Now go look at woven carbon arrows in 1000 straightness, right? What do we got? The TKO series from Victory, right? So in general, normal sizes of those are 200 to 250, depending on which configuration for shafts, right? Who else is making a woven carbon arrow?
You know better than me.
Well, I'm trying to think. There's not a lot.
Does Gold Tip have anything?
No.
Is the Airstrike
Nope. It's a Teflon coated or ceramic coated.
Yeah.
But it's not woven. Easton's not making a woven. Right? That's like the only woven arrow. Didn't Carbon Express or somebody made one? But I mean, I don't know if anybody even follows Carbon Express anymore. Are we missing an arrow company in there? I don't know. Guaranteed somebody's going to comment down below on
Gold Tip, Easton,
three, 4 of them.
Victory, Black Eagle.
Yeah, Black Eagle doesn't make. Oh, they do. Their new arrow they just came out with has a partial woven on it, and it's $250 a dozen for shafts. So I mean, this is a woven carbon arrow, which is considered superior to a standard layered carbon by most people.
Yeah.
Like they'll say this is a more expensive product, right? So if you get down to that,
You gotta
brass
go check
tacks are-
here.
yeah. So you're only 130 or 120. Am I doing my math right? No, it's 200. Yeah, so you're
Say like
you're
225.
200. You're $200 for componentry, fletchings, wraps, etc.
But those are for a dozen arrows.
I am saying a dozen.
Yep.
So I'm saying the price of those shafts.
Yep.
And then add a dozen components.
Yep.
And then add a dozen or 36 vanes, and then add wraps, and then pay somebody to install all them, and then add field points with O-rings on them.
And what's that cost? $600?
Well, if it's a good component, it's probably $100 for the components, right? If you're not just taking the basic stock thing. So, let's say it's a good component, it's $100 a dozen. Field points are going to be $25 a dozen with O-rings on them, right? That's pretty standard. So there's 125. 36 vanes, a third of 100 is probably $10 to $20 depending on the kind. So wraps are usually at least $15 a dozen. So that's another 40. And what is a shop going to charge to install wraps and fletch arrows? At least $30, $40 a dozen, probably more, somewhere in there. That's almost the same amount of money. We're talking about $20 difference, $30 difference. It's just people who get upset about the price, but they've never actually priced out what that would cost by itself.
Well, my point of it was
Go to town, buddy.
not necessarily is the price good or is the price bad, but if you don't like the price, just don't buy it. Yeah. There's no need to be upset about it. There's no need to change how you feel during the day because somebody launched an expensive product. Like that stuff happens. Like there's premium categories. There's premium categories in vehicles. Mercedes doesn't cost the same as a Ford. And I said a few years back, like we're going to see a $5,000 bow. It's going to happen. There's $10,000 rifles. Now a typical rifle maybe is $1,000, but that's 10 times more. And you can spend more than that. And you know that if you've looked into custom rifles, like if you're kitting out a custom rifle with a sweet barrel, I mean, look at Gunworks prices. And is that necessarily what I want to shop for? No, not really. But there are people who want that, and they want that end-to-end product. So, yeah, I mean, I just think from a price perspective, let them be what it'll be and let the market speak for it. Maybe the market wants it, maybe the market doesn't, but we don't know unless, somebody tries. And you have to appreciate, or I appreciate somebody trying, putting in the effort to make something new or innovative. Innovation's a good thing. And sometimes with innovation comes lumps and bumps, people try new things and they might miss the mark, but you don't know if you don't try. And so where I'm at with them is I want to give them a fair shake and test and see what they do. I find it hard to believe that they're going to be significantly a step up from anything I've shot in the past, but who knows, And I would be curious from y'all listening, what you think would be in a good arrow test. I think about durability. I think about cost, obviously, durability, cost, and then how they fly. And when it comes to a how do they fly perspective, I've always felt like if I shoot pretty good arrows, it's really tough for me to outshoot them. And I've never picked up an arrow and been like, oh, I see a significantly better group with that arrow. Now, what I would say to that is there's a caveat to this. And some of the upper echelon archers, your target people that shoot really well, your archers that are the cream of the crop, they can definitely see a difference in equipment. But they have worked really hard to get to that point. So if you sent, we like talking about Bodie Turner because Bodie Turner ends up coming through the shop here every once in a while. If you sent Bodie Turner 4 different dozen kind of arrows and he shot them all, tested them all, he would probably find one that flies better than the rest and he could compare them. But at my level of archery, I'm just kind of ranting about like arrows.
Next alarm's in 15 minutes.
Okay.
Gotta put sauce on.
We got 15 minutes till we get sauced up, bossed up. Mm-hmm. Now, we like sauce. We also like Joe Rogan. Have you gotten to see his comedy special?
That was really good.
Did you?
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, he was pushing back. I like seeing all the stuff that they told you couldn't say or whatnot. It was
that seems to be a wave with comedy right now. Like they want to push back.
Well, and I think
we need comedians to do that.
Well, I think the reality of it. I mean, comedians for the longest time have been like that safety barrier, right? It's that one person that's allowed to make fun of this stuff that you all want to say, but you can't say it, and then they can say it, so it gets it out in the room, and everyone's okay, right? It's amazing. I look at like a comedian when I was a kid, and I go, that guy's funny. He's probably just a goofball screwing around through his whole life, whatnot, and you don't realize how intelligent and smart and focused they can be for what they are.
I don't think and
how important or valuable they are.
I don't think I've found a comedian that isn't like really highly intelligent as I've like gotten older and paid more attention to them. Like
successful ones, anyway.
Let's take like Seinfeld for example. Seinfeld, his comedy is like, it's like a right in front of you kind of comedy. He's joking about everyday things. But Seinfeld's a genius. Like,
I agree.
He's a genius. The writing in their shows, so good. Like a Dave Chappelle, so good. All of these
Crazy
people,
good.
and some of the stuff does come off the cuff, but they spend so much time, like, with their recipe. They're constantly iterating their recipes and their delivery. And because communication's like one of the world's oldest deals, right?
Yeah.
Like, so to be a master of communication, it's not by accident.
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
So that stuff is really prepared. It's really well thought out. And they're also good. A lot of them are good off the cuff, and I love that kind of comedy. But yeah, a lot of stuff is really, it's really rehearsed. So give me your takeaway on that Rogan thing again.
Oh man, I thought it was great. That was hilarious. And like I said, I like to see more pushback from the way it was to the way it is, because I think we need that. I think we need it in a big way, and I think our society is starting to shift back that way, which is what a lot of them were predicting. I'm trying to remember. Rogan said it once. He was talking to what's his name, Ari Shaffir, about. I think it was Ari Shaffir, about watching the wave of what's going on, and it was getting so far left and so woke and so just kind of out of control that he's like, oh my God, we're going to get a right-wing authoritarian dictator. Because it swings back and forth. It's just what our society's always done. You know, we go from, you know, this type of person to the opposite type of person, and back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah, there's an ebb and flow for sure.
Yeah, and so
I'll tell you one major chess piece that I'm really, really grateful for, because it's been about the last 5 years where I've really paid more attention to like politics and media and how everything influences how it actually impacts, my life or things I get to see. And that's Elon buying X.
Yeah,
because there was a
huge
time when all social media was directed towards one direction.
Yeah.
And people were being silenced on all social media. And social media has become most people's primary influence of media is coming from social media.
For sure.
Whether that's Facebook, Instagram, X, Snapchat, it's typically coming from those sources. So if you have all of them in one basket, that's got a lot of influence could be a positive or a negative way. But generally, we don't want all influence in one basket. Like that's not a good thing.
No, you have to. Everyone has to be able to speak their mind.
Yeah,
you have to.
Freedom of speech is really important to me.
If you're going to have a good, stable society, you can't just silence people you disagree with.
Yeah,
you can't do it.
Yeah.
Like I'm more than welcome to let somebody who disagrees with me just pipe off. There's a reason I don't delete comments. There's a reason I don't argue back and forth with people saying this is stupid or blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you have a right to think that way.
Yeah.
And you also should be able to show that in a public forum. This is how you think. And then if we have to sit down and talk about it and I can show you that you're an idiot or whatnot, if it comes back to that because I think I'm right and I think you're wrong, we also should be able to do that.
Yeah.
And it got so far away from that it scared the crap out of me.
Yeah,
and
it scared me
feels
too for a
like
little while.
we're getting back to where, hey, it's okay for me to think the way I think, and it's okay for you to think the way you think, and we can still get along and be friends and be neighbors or whatever it is. Like we can't hate each other because we disagree. That's just stupid.
And you don't need to be completely one side or the other. Like there's plenty of room to have different thoughts in both directions.
Well, the reality of it is 85% of us are in the middle and agree on probably 95% of things.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's the 5% of things that separate the difference between us and we're supposed to hate each other over it.
Yeah.
It's idiotic.
Yeah. And what does Elon call it? He calls it old school legacy media. Legacy media has done a really good job of doing divisive things for the last 10 years. Yeah. Everything's divisive. Everything's shocking. Everything is, and it's a click driven economy. So I can understand some of it and where it's come from. But anyway, all that to be said is I'm really thankful Elon bought X, and he does seem to have some political leanings now. I think, particularly as we've gotten closer to the election.
Ironically, they used to be opposite.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And but it does seem like he wants it to be a platform for free speech, which I appreciate.
Yes.
And I'm actually thinking about starting to actually use X regularly. Because I always have little thoughts or little blurbs, and I think that's a good spot for it. And I think I'm gonna start using it. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot.
I originally when he bought it, because I never even got on Twitter in my life until he bought it, and then I'm like, well, okay, I might want to pay attention, right? And that he was making some different directions with it, because you'd hear about stuff that was on there. I'm like, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, and blah blah blah, right? Mm-hmm. And now that it seems like it's a free speech platform, I feel like I should support it in some way, and even though I don't really feel like what I have to say is important at all, and who the hell cares what I think, but if we're talking about like just random stuff and not bow stuff, right? Like who cares what I think outside of archery? But I feel like I should support it. I really do. So I'll put that on my list of social media things to do that I don't want to do.
On the long list of things.
On the long list of things that I don't want to do that I really need to do.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
What time did you want to check on those?
I said another 15 minutes from when.
From halfway?
So yeah, where are you at?
We're 45 minutes into the hour.
Give it another 5 minutes and I'll go put it on there. 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
And then you probably need about 10 and it should cook it up. So.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. So what's did we talk about that $4,000 bow in the last one? God, I think we did that too.
Yeah, we did a little bit.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
I was surprisingly impressed.
I haven't talked to you since you've actually spent time with it.
I'm surprisingly impressed. Like, granted, it's got the cycle that the Core SR has that I don't like. Like, it's really
So
aggressive.
it's a little harsher to turn over.
Yeah, I mean they're still making.
What's it
them
max out at for draw length?
30. It's got the same specs as the SR,
So,
or not
yeah,
the
so
SR.
you're
Sorry,
at-
the Core SR.
So you're at the harshest end of it too.
Yeah, because I just tested it in performance, and it feels terrible at my length. It's not as bad shorter, but it's hard. It dumps into that. If you had a 30-inch draw length and we're just determined to have that bow, you probably ought to set it in comfort. But it was snappy. It was quick, and it was surprisingly vibration free. It really was. Like the whole time, and it felt different. Like it just felt different when it went off, and it wasn't just a vibration free thing. It was like what the bow did and how it ended felt very different to me. Just very different.
Yeah,
So-
we're on the cusp of bow launch season. You know, we're not that far away, to be honest.
No, I mean, we're starting to get little sprinkles of it earlier
Yeah.
than normal. I mean, I've done 2 bow reviews right now. And what, Lena?
Do you have?
You're not supposed to interrupt when we're in the podcast.
Do you want to come be on it?
Do you want to say hi? Of course she does. You did this on purpose.
Welcome back,
Come in
Lena
here.
Jones, who's been on the pod.
Hello, daughter.
MFJJ's daughter.
Oh, I don't think he's in there. So here.
Are you
Hi.
waiting for the grilling to be done? Are you here for the grilling
I'm hungry.
and the chilling? Yeah.
Well, we're cooking some chicken on the grill.
we
at
got
the moment,
15
so-
minutes and we got some good stuff
Yeah,
coming
be
up.
good.
For dinner?
Talk to Nana. I don't know. She was going to work on something.
Well, we got chicken. you
Yeah,
know.
we got chicken for sure. So
Plenty of it.
Over with that. When does the shop close?
6.
Okay.
Pretty quick. You gonna go shoot?
Yeah.
Oh, you shooting a bow?
She has recently started shooting.
So
Oh,
cool.
what's going on with that?
Because I'm so cool. All of my friends are leaving and I need a hobby.
Good. Well, this is a very good hobby.
You
Yeah.
also owe me a golf lesson for my grad present.
That's true. And a golf bag.
Yes.
Yes.
I can deliver on that. Yep.
right.
Okay.
Go help Nana with her TV.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Special
I know you
guest.
love me.
Special guest, Lena Jones. Guest of the pod, daughter of Josh Jones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's also got a job now, which is
She's
cool.
got 2 jobs. She's had
2 jobs.
Yeah, she's a hardworking kid. I
Yeah.
can't deny that. One of the jobs is for the Spokane Indians baseball team locally, so it's like a week on, a week off kind of schedule, and it's just through the summer, so through their season. But she also is one of the managers at local Jimmy John's and works 4 days a week there as well.
Yeah.
And they're pretty lengthy shifts. I mean, between that and between both jobs, she's probably working more than 40 hours a week right now, and she's in college. So,
It makes me feel like America has hope when I hear stuff like that.
well, though, I definitely feel like I got a couple of things right with both of my daughters. They both have really good work ethic in general. They're both relatively driven, and they're both not afraid of hard schedules. They just go at it, which kind of is how their dad is. So I like Chloe. God, that's kind of how their dad is. So I feel like maybe I get to take a little credit for that, but who knows?
Yeah.
Proud either way.
Yeah, it's good.
So
I mean, since I've known Lena, she's come a long way. Like she seems confident and happy, Seems like she's good.
yeah, no, I have no complaints other than she still has this tendency to leave crap laying around and not pick up after herself, especially
Yeah.
when it comes to like dinner
Because
plates
it's
and
Dad's
stuff.
house,
Yeah.
Once she gets in her spot, she'll understand a little more.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. But I guess that's my only gripe. Where are we at on time? Do I need to go sauce?
Yeah, you should definitely
All
go
right.
sauce.
Go sauce. Carrot. Hold down the fort, big guy.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you, as Josh gets out there and sauces this stuff up, a couple bold predictions for this evening. I'm probably the favorite going into the random release challenge, even though we have some good shooters. Well, I should be the favorite, Vegas odds, because I won last year, me and Nolan. And but the interesting thing about this year is we've done this like a couple years back now, but because this event has history now, everyone's kind of like scheming. So I don't know what kind of releases we're going to see. And I would anticipate we're going to see some really weird stuff. Some people trying to throw a wrench into the wheel kind of thing. So I'm very curious, as everyone's going to start showing up here shortly for the chicken coming off the grill, what kind of releases they're going to be bringing, because they've been gaming it for a while and they've been known it's coming for a while. And yeah, we might see some stuff come out of the archives. Like the very first release I hunted with, or I can remember hunting with, my grandpa gave me. And it was so unique, I wish I could remember the name, but if you could imagine like a small block of wood that's like 1 inch wide by 5 inches long with finger notches cut in the long side of it, and then a thumb button on the top. That was like the first release I hunted with, and it wasn't a block of wood, but that's just perspective for shape. It almost looked like a clip from a magazine, and I would grab it with my whole hand and then depress it with my like a little button with my finger. But I've never seen another release like it, and I don't know what the name is, and I'm just a little curious as I think back through that, like what that actually was. Yeah. Speaking of stuff that I grew up hunting with, so that was the first release I used. I eventually graduated to a finger trigger that was too long for me, for sure. It's the kind of trigger you almost had to reach out to touch the end of, which generally isn't a good way to activate because you have to reach out so far. The only way to make it go is to like fire your finger. But the first bow I remember, and I just remember the name of it I always have, was a Reflex dual cam, and it was like a kit bow from Cabela's that I probably ordered out of a magazine for like $200 and put together at our little local. It wasn't an archery shop; it was more of an outdoor shop. So they sold hunting and fishing gear, and the guy also, in a small town, you're just jack of all trades. So he was the person that would tune our gear, and yeah. So it was a Reflex, 60 pounds. Do you ever remember the term like a Reflex bow or that brand?
The brand, yeah, it was Hoyt's mail order brand.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was my first bow. I was just telling them about that.
Oh yeah, no, Reflex was more of a plain Jane version of a Hoyt, trying to get into chain stores.
Yeah,
and
I ordered
places.
it from like a Cabela's, like a kit.
Yeah.
Like a kit bow.
Yeah, and it didn't take as well as it could have.
Yeah.
For one reason or another. I think they probably would have been smarter to buy a mail order brand and run with one that already had an established brand, as opposed to trying to get into that space under their own, calling it something different. I'm sure it did okay for a little while, but it obviously isn't here anymore, so it only did so good.
What was your first bow?
My first bow ever?
Yeah, that you remember. That comes to mind.
Was an American.
An American.
It was a wooden riser,
What a
wooden
beautiful
limbs,
brand.
American compound bow. I was probably 5 or 6.
Dual cam?
Yep. And then my first relatively adjustable bow was a Martin Lynx. And it was
I've heard that name from someone else
modified
before.
a bunch.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Martin Lynxes up here, like in the day. They were affordable. I think at the time it was like $110 bow, and it had 7 inches of module length adjustment, and they put a shorter string on it to try to get the weight down and the length down to where it fit me. And then that was my first real. It's got sights, it's got a release, it's got a rest, it's got all the doodads, and I went and shot a crap ton of ground squirrels with it. Just tons. Oh, man. I got really good with it, too.
Were you shooting a release or were you shooting fingers?
I was shooting release.
Yeah.
I started with fingers. I think my American, I had fingers. And then
Yeah.
when I got that bow, I graduated over to a Scott caliper release, like the original Scott caliper release. Oh, yeah. And then off I went. And, I progressed for a while into probably trying to please my dad. So I eventually picked up a recurve and stopped shooting on compound for 2 years and killed 4 big game animals, 5
really?
big game animals with a recurve.
Dang.
But I had to shoot every day and religiously. And if I stopped for like 2 days, it hurt so bad to shoot because my calluses would go away from my fingers. And then I picked up my old compound that I hadn't shot in forever and shot 12 arrows out of it and shot better by far than could with my recurve that I shot every freaking day. And to boot, my clientele were 95% compound guys.
Yeah.
I was like, what am I doing? Like, this is dumb. Like, I should be shooting a compound, not a recurve. So I gave up trying to, follow my dad's passion at that point. I can still shoot one.
Which is pretty common for a young man too, right?
Yeah, and if I ever get like a hunt where it's, kind of super easy and dull, maybe I pick up a recurve and practice for a little bit and kill something with a recurve again.
No.
Or grab one of his old recurves and go kill something with it. That kind of thing. Just to, hey, this is my dad's recurve and I killed one.
Yeah.
Killed a deer with it or that kind of thing. Yeah, he was always consumed by that heavily.
Yeah, I remember you telling me stories about how often he was shooting, and obviously pretty obsessive about his craft.
Yeah, and then one day he just quit. Yeah. Shortly after his quintuple bypass, he went hunting, I think, for one more year or two more years, and then the last 9 years or 8 years, he just didn't really care. He might like try to shoot a deer off his property or something for meat, but that was literally it. Like because I really believe his personal drive in that was he'd argue with me, and I hope he's not up there somewhere getting mad at me for this, but I think it was pride and ego. Like he was trying to kill a bigger buck than the next guy and brag about it. Like he always claimed that wasn't the case, but so much of what he did looked like that to me. Because that's not me at all. Like I've got stuff and it's sitting in the corner and I don't try to talk about it. It's just not how I'm wired.
Yeah. Well, I think that's
and once that, like, I think that left him, and then he just didn't really care to hunt anymore, where I just really dig eating what I shot. Like I went out, I hunted it down, I killed it, and then I ate it.
Yeah.
And that's what got me. Like I was so hooked on that I want to do that the rest of my life. Much like Rogan said, he went through it and did it, and was like, I'm doing this for the rest of my life. This is how I want to source my food. And it's cool. So
yeah.
hey.
I think as a young man, I was just hunting because that's kind of what the guys did. And I know that I love spending time outside, but maybe I wasn't sure why I was hunting. But somewhere along the road, I was like, oh, this is food. And yeah. So now for me, it's food. I love hunting. It's really fun and challenging to hunt mature animals. But if I'm in the middle of a hunt and it's the opportunity to take home food or not, like I'm taking home some food.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to justify it any other way.
Yeah, it's
And-
just what I'm out there for. I'm out there for food. And, I look at it as like that's the state's job is to allocate and manage the game populations. So if
Right.
they're handing you a tag that says, hey, go hunt this doe or go hunt this whatever, like if you're within those regulations, it's your choice. You want to go shoot something big and hunt something big, that's cool. But you want to go shoot something small and, fill up your freezer, that's cool too. Because, the states, they're setting those allocations based on research.
Yeah, and sometimes the states allow decisions to be made that have nothing to do with research and have more to do with feelings, and you no longer can hunt or bait bears and cougars in this state. And now the state pays Fish and Game to go kill them over and over and over again.
Yeah, which is crazy.
The number in like, I think it was 124 GMU, the number of cougars they've killed in that unit per year by Fish and Game doing it would shock you, would blow your mind that they have to do that. And we're paying, now our tax dollars are going to pay somebody to go do it instead of collecting revenue for the task happening because, it's an average citizen, so this is bad.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so idiotic.
Yeah.
It's happening anyway. So if your premise is, I don't want to see poor little Mr. Kitty get shot in the instance of a cougar, they're getting shot either way.
Yeah.
Just whether or not your state made money from it or paid money for it.
Yeah.
Take your pick. But you can't just not do it.
And paying money for it almost becomes unmanageable because there's almost not the time or resources in the day for those people to put in the effort they need to.
Well, there's a reason they have to kill so many now.
Right.
It's because they basically stopped getting hunted.
Yeah.
So they prosper and grow and have higher numbers, and then they start interacting with people and killing people's pets and things like that. I mean, you just run into these problems that your bleeding heart may have never really thought of. But that's why it exists to begin with. They need that management.
Yeah.
And you can either make money from it or pay for it. Take a pick.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. We have a taste test coming in hot. These little babies might just like put your dick on the floor, kind of be good, huh?
Well, they're probably gonna be hot as hell. Just pull them off.
Yeah.
Hotter than Hades.
Crispy little chunk of skin.
Trying to burn my
You
lip
into
there.
that?
Yeah. Do enjoy that.
Grilled meat, great friends. Beautiful evening here in the Northwest. It doesn't really get much better than that for me. We're gonna get high marks for this. I'm gonna go 8.8. It's very high, very
Wow.
high marks, and a lot of it is because this, like I said, this is tough to beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm gonna give my chicken about a 7.5 because I could have done way better, but it was about what I could do during a podcast.
Yeah, it's the best we could do. It's been a little chaotic. We appreciate you guys. Subscribe to the channel. Leave it a review. Subscribe wherever you're listening. We appreciate you guys. Yeah, we're gonna go shoot our bows. You should do the same.
Do it.